Alright, so I just got home from work, turned the TV on, and saw this crap. I'm so sick of this crap. Look at this crap. Purple. It's kind of pinkish, you know. It's pink compared to this purple over here. Regardless, lots of purple on TV. Let's watch this fake bullshit news story from my home state.
Hey, listen to this story. A healthy 28-year-old ER doctor says he thought he would be fine if he got coronavirus. But he was wrong.
He thought he'd be fine if he got coronavirus, but he was wrong.
Now, after his life and death struggle, he has advice to the rest of us.
I've heard of horse face. Have you ever heard of horse voice?
So we don't have to say goodbye to our loved ones. CNN Sarah Seidner is live in Grand Rapids, Michigan with his story. Wow. Sarah, tell us what he told you.
Wow, are you ready for this fake story? This bullshit, nonsensical story? Is that the right word? Nonsensical?
Yeah, you know, he's 28 years old. He's a runner. He plays volleyball. Dr. David Burkhardt has,
Oh, wow, what the athlete. He's a runner and he plays volleyball.
no comorbidities. And to him, he thought, well, if I did get it, I would be fine. But something else completely different.
Seriously, those are like the two weakest sporting teams. Like the running team, everyone makes the running team. And volleyball, I fought in high school to have a men's volleyball team. I fought to be able to play on the girls' volleyball team. They wouldn't let me, even though they let the girls, a few girls play on the hockey team, the wrestling team, and the football team. But nope, I couldn't play on the volleyball team.
Happened. Suddenly, he was in the same hospital where he had been treating patients who had coronavirus. Completely different.
Sorry, this bus in the background caught my eye.
Happened. Suddenly, he was in the same hospital where
I mean, is that 3 X's that drive by?
he had
That's what it looks like to me.
been.
It looked like 3 X's drive by. Nice 666.
Fine. But something else completely different happened. Suddenly, he was in the
God, this video's not getting to the point.
same hospital
So there's 1 X.
where
There's 2.
he
And there's the third one on the back of the
had
bus.
been
Yeah, it's 3 X's. X is 6, and that's 666.
treating patients who had coronavirus.
The simple
Listen to this brave hero, this doctor.
act of walking is a struggle for Grand Rapids emergency room doctor David
Yeah, it looks like he's really struggling to walk there.
Burkhardt.
When do you start feeling yourself going like, oh boy?
Oh, right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Dr. Burkhardt is just 28 years old with no underlying medical conditions. He's run a marathon and normally runs 5 days a week, but coronavirus stopped him in his tracks.
Day 6. I got out of bed. I went to make a sandwich,
Day 6, huh?
move around my apartment a little bit. I just couldn't catch my breath. It was like no matter what I did, like
Did you try taking the mask off?
tried
Maybe wearing a mask every day in a doctor's office and breathing in it nonstop, working overtime. Maybe that's affecting your breathing a little bit, because I don't wear a mask and I have no problem breathing.
different positions, tried sitting, and it was just like this heaviness of like, man, I cannot breathe.
Suddenly,
Take the mask off. Isn't it weird how, like, we started out with someone dying saying, I can't breathe. Oh, I can't breathe. And now we've got people on TV with masks on saying, I couldn't breathe.
And tried sitting, and it was just like this heaviness of like, man, I cannot breathe.
Oh, like George Floyd?
suddenly, he was the patient.
I think the hard thing is having seen it and having been the person that talks to the patient with COVID and says, you know what, it's time.
You know what? It's time. We're gonna have to kill you. You know, I gotta pay some bills. I'm gonna put this tube in your throat, and it's time to say goodbye to your loved ones, because Daddy needs a new car.
To call your wife. Like, we're gonna have to put a breathing tube down, and it's time for you to say goodbye.
There he was, lying
There he was. There's your doctor with coronavirus. Do you still believe him? You still believe him, huh? You still believe that the doctor with coronavirus? Look at that. What you doing there, bud? Is rock and roll time? Rock and roll! Throwing up the horns. The fuck out of here with this bullshit.
in the same
This fake fucking news story. I'm sick of this shit.
unit, wondering if he'd be able to catch his breath.
The loneliness of
Oh, be able to catch his breath.
going up to the COVID floor and knowing that you can't have visitors. I'm literally at my place of work where I have lots of friends and colleagues and incredible people, and not a single one of them can come and say hi. Like, it's isolating.
Well, that's because you bought into the whole pandemic. That's your fault. You didn't have a backbone and stood up and take the mask off. See, I haven't worn a mask. I don't wash my hands and put hand sanitizer on all day long like you guys do. And guess what? I'm fine. Nothing's happened to me. Nothing will happen to me because, mentally I don't buy into this bullshit. You guys mentally buy into it, which stresses you out, which allows you to get sick.
No longer shedding the virus and anxiously waiting to
Oh, there's more.
return to the ER as Michigan's positivity rate hits nearly 12%.
How bad are things
Bullshit.
now compared to March when all this first kicked off here?
We have
Yeah, look what's sitting on the screen too. As this guy's talking, I don't care. It's the temperature. It's on there for a reason right now while this dipshit's talking.
over 300 patients admitted to the hospital right now across Spectrum Health.
And why are you wearing such a shitty face mask if you got coronavirus? You work in a doctor's office. You've watched people die. You've killed people. So why don't you wear a better mask if you believe in all this bullshit? Why are you wearing the mask that they literally hand out to anyone that doesn't have a mask?
Which is markedly higher than we ever were before.
He also wants to send a message
Look at me, I'm wearing the same mask at work that I'm wearing on TV because they just handed it to me, but masks are important, like my purple shirt.
to people who still doubt the novel coronavirus is real.
I've had a lot of people say
Yeah, here we go.
that I am a hoax.
You are a hoax. You're a joke. Get the fuck off my television. I'm sick of this shit. Is that a purple scarf you have on?
I had someone report me to Facebook for being a fake profile. It's like,
I wish I could find your profile so I can troll you.
Someone called you a hoax.
Someone called you a hoax. Yeah, someone called me a hoax.
A doctor
Yeah.
who's had
Yeah, a doctor who's on TV talking right now with a mask on. I got white shoes. Listen to me.
coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's simply telling your
I'm
story.
simply just trying to breathe instead
Simply just trying to breathe. Take the mask off and you'll be able to breathe.
of just like saying mean things from behind the keyboard. Just
I'll say them to your face. I'm in your state. If you give me, it's not a purple. It looked purple from far away. But yeah, you give me an address. I'll come to your hospital and we can have a chat right now. I'll break the keyboard right in front of your face and I'll say every single thing I would have typed out right to your fucking eyes.
it's like, imagine what it's like to have that conversation with someone that you're putting a breathing tube down their throat and they might not be able to say, I love you to their loved one again.
So don't get the test. Why did you get the test? Because it seems like everyone who gets the test, they're fine, they're not dying, they're fine. But then they get the test, and then the doctors get involved, and then they want more tests, and then they want to bring you in, and then they want to do that, and then you slowly get worse. Like they purposely make you get worse so they can bring you back and say they healed you up, and look at us, we're the doctors, you got to trust us.
And that's what we're doing every day.
And some of you, with shitty insurance, they kill your ass off.
Constantly.
That's just my opinion.
Like you can prevent that
I don't trust doctors or hospitals, especially during a pandemic.
conversation possibly by putting on a mask, or you can prevent that conversation by,
Listen to this guy. He's constantly talking about the mask.
like you can prevent that conversation possibly by putting on a mask, or you can prevent that conversation by skipping Thanksgiving dinner. Like, we've got to do our part.
Oh, really? You want me to skip Thanksgiving dinner? It looks like you're smiling through your mask. Is that why you're wearing it? Is that why they did this whole pandemic? So you crisis actors can have something to cover the smiles every time you guys are on television? Because I'm not skipping Thanksgiving because some stranger on TV got sick. I don't give a shit about you. I don't know you. You're nothing to me. You're an actor. You're a puppet on television. And now you're telling us, oh, skip Thanksgiving, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. How'd that work out for you, bud? How'd that work out for you? You did all those things and look at where you're at. Pretending like you're sick on television.
He says he doesn't want to scare people, but he wants them to understand just how
Does he want to make them laugh? Because he made me laugh.
dire this situation is. And he also said
What kind of dirty mask are you wearing? It's like covered in charcoal. Were you in a coal mine all day?
that he has no doubt there is much more we need to learn about coronavirus because here he is
It's a coal miner's mask. This woman's been in a coal mine.
as a young, healthy guy who got hospitalized, and 2 weeks later, after getting tested and going through all this, he still finds it hard to catch his breath.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't get tested and let people shove tubes down your throat.
Allison John.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you feel like you're dying, unless you feel like it's the sickest you've ever been that you can remember, do not go to the hospital. Do not see a doctor right now. Are you out of your fucking mind? Do not get tested. If you feel like you are the sickest you've ever felt, go see a doctor. Still don't get a test.
Oh, that's a cautionary tale. I mean, this is not the first time that we have.
They're conditioning you people to take the vaccine. That's what this is all going on and leading towards. Little by little, conditioning you, breaking you down. So when that vaccine comes, you take it.
Spoken to somebody who was a marathon runner, a daily runner, and got terribly sick. This virus is so unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just look at somebody and decide, well, they'll just be fine if they get sick. And I mean, I know that we're tempted to do that. But also, John, just the isolation. I try actually not to think about the isolation of how scary it is to fight for your life and to be alone. I actually try to.
I welcome it to be alone and have no one bother me. I wish coronavirus would run up on me and jump on my back and get me sick. I'd love to just, be left alone and be able to have a chance to escape this absolute shit fucking bullshit reality that I'm living in now. Ever since 9/11, this reality's gone to shit. And it's not getting any better, it's only getting worse. So coronavirus, that sounds good to me.
Turn my brain off to that, but then
Wish it was real.
so many of our guests remind us.
I actually had the same exact reaction because we hear just a lot of heartbreaking stories, but for some reason, the way Sarah, you and he were describing these moments, it really just broke through. I don't know if it's
Oh yeah, it broke through to you. You crying up there with your purple tie on? I swear it's a purple tie.
because he's not
Lots of purple.
the image of what you think the typical patient is, and when someone like that talks about the isolation, it really
God, you're just really a terrible actor.
hits home.
So believable.
Yeah, we also talked to his mom. He might be upset that I said, but we talked to his mom and we said, he's a very eloquent speaker. So that really, and he gets the point across. And she said to us, you know what? He's also a really good doctor. And as we
Yeah? Well, what kind of volleyball player is he? Let's get him on the volleyball court. I'd like to spike one in his face.
were talking to him, he said to me, you know what? At
Knock his stupid mask off.
some point in all this, I was like, look, let me just get coronavirus. Like, I hope I just get it and get it over with. I mean, he was doing everything. He was masking up all the time. He wasn't gathering in large groups.
See, listen, they're running down all the things he was doing, yet he still got sick, yet they're telling you to do all these things still.
He was doing all of the rules, the self-distancing, everything that you're supposed to do. And to him, he thought, look, I'm 28, I'm a runner, I'm healthy, I have no, sort of comorbidities. So if I get it, at least I'll just get it over with, and maybe I'll have a little bit of immunity for some time, and I can just go on my merry way. And then he got it. And what's interesting in his story, and I think a lot of people have had this, the first couple of days were really bad. He had a really high fever. He was, coughing. He felt bad. He knew he needed.
Those are the symptoms: high fever, coughing. Oh my God, how terrifying. That's what we shut everything down, as a high fever, coughing.
To go to get tested. He got tested, but on day
Stupid.
4 and 5, he started to feel better. He said he got up, he started playing the piano, he started to feel a little bit more like himself. And then
Dude plays the piano, come on.
day 6 came, and it knocked him on his behind. He got up and tried to just walk a few steps,
Like, what kind of athlete plays volleyball, runs, and plays piano?
and he just
Top shape physical athletes right there.
couldn't catch his breath. And that, that is a terrifying feeling, not being able to catch your breath no matter what you do. And he knew right then, okay, now here he is, a doctor. He looked at his oxygen levels. He has a device that anybody can buy. And he saw how they were dropping. And he saw that he was probably going to have to go into the hospital.
Then he should have taken his mask off and done the same test without the mask and seen if there was any difference if he's a doctor.
And eventually, his friends and colleagues at the hospital told him, yeah,
He's obviously not a critical thinker.
got to come in. We're sorry, but you got to come in.
Sarah, thank you very much for bringing us his story. Of course, it's a cautionary
Thank you for the bullshit fake news story of the day from the crisis actor of the year.
tale for any of us who've ever had that cavalier thought of, well, maybe it'd just be easier to get it.
Oh, here's
Yeah, it's an important reminder. Thank you very
it's true.
much.
I thought you were going to say, for those of us who have that notion of sometimes going for a run.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
I know that's not
Just
you.
stop
Okay,
doing that.
okay.
Stop that right now. All right, there are 2
No, I'm done.